Welcome everyone to the October meeting of Geology Club. This is a brand new day, a brand new month, brand new everything for us here at Geology Club. A lot has happened. You saw the email that went out. We've spent this month rebuilding things, and basically, when we built this club initially, it took like 4 months before we decided to accept members because we wanted to get things right. We just did it again in a month. So I will tell you all, we had new officers installed within 24 hours, PA paperwork filed with the state within a week and accepted. We moved very quickly. We have everything in place, and this club is looking awesome. We have very great new team here, which I would like to share. Your new leaders, Tina Kruger and Joe McNamara. Joe is here tonight. Tina had to be away. She is helping a friend who had someone pass away. So unfortunately, she could not be here tonight. But Joe, if you want to say something.
I'm very excited to join the club and join the team, and looking forward to some uh, exciting trips and educational events that Andrew puts on all the time. So yeah, it's a good thing to be here.
Awesome.
That's all I
Yeah, no,
got.
no, and it's Joe has been with this club since the beginning. He's been helping out with stuff, and so is Tina. So they were the logical people to move up because they've been with us, and they just were, helping with the events and the trips and stuff from the beginning. So they are now the new leaders with me and our new team. We are coming up. Tina has been working on a new name for this. We're not going to call it team. We're going to call it something cooler, something having to do with geology. So we're working on that. But as with what you're going to see tonight, you're going to see all kinds of new things. So our treasurer, who has also been with us since the beginning, Sylvia Eppig, she is here tonight. She's been here every night since the beginning, actually. So thank you, Sylvia. You all may know her as Mama Rockhound. She is also the treasurer of the EFMLS currently. So she takes care of a very large treasury and, $250,000 with the EFMLS. So we are in good hands with her. She is a nonprofit accountant. So thank you. She's done a lot of great things for this club. Our new field trip coordinator, Vanessa Burnett, she is here with us tonight. She has been helping out with everything. She coordinated everything with the Mohawk trip and getting us out in the field. And, she's helped a lot with a lot of things. The hot dogs and fossils we just had last month. So she was the one with the first shirt, the first club flag. So Vanessa, welcome. You want to say anything?
No, I'm just excited to be part of the team, and this is such a great club. I had so much fun so far, participating in everything.
Well, we're glad you're here and thank you so much. We are moving into the winter, but I plan on trying to have stuff that we can do in the winter, not just going to museums or whatever. But I do have a lead on a cave that we could probably go to. I'm going to be checking into that. I'll be with the guy this weekend that I can talk with him more about it. So I'm hoping to get us a couple wintertime opportunities actually. So we'll talk about that here in a minute. But anyway, graphics, Sarah Bernotas. I'm sorry, I don't know your last name, how to say it properly. Bernotas. I'm sorry, Sarah. You've done a great job for us. The logo on the screen, she did that for us. Great logo, and you will see elements of that throughout this presentation tonight, throughout the meeting tonight. Elements of that. It's great for me to have stuff like that to work with. So I really thank you. I don't think she's here tonight. Sarah, if you are here, let me know. But I don't think I saw her join tonight. Anyway, moving on. Thank you all. This is a great new team and new logos, new graphics, a whole new feel for this club is what we've been working on. So you see two of the logos that we have so far. We're working on some new stuff. We're going to bring as much new to you as possible. And new energy. Our team, it was great on the team meeting that we had the one night. Just so many people coming together and collaborating about new ideas and new ways to bring stuff to the table. So we do have a whole new energy for this club, and we are so glad to be here and doing it all for you all. We have almost 250 members now. I don't have a final count right this second. I've had my hands on too many other things, but we are about 250 strong. So this is a great club. We're going to do big things, and it's just going to get much better. All right, moving on to events. So next weekend, those who are not signed up on the trip, there is a trip that we are leading to Mineral Hill that is full. So that is going to go on, but those who are not signed up for that trip are more than welcome to come up to the Montour Preserve. I will be talking with Dr. Jen Patea. I'll be presenting on fossils, the older history, and then she'll be moving into the younger history of the dinosaurs and the more paleontology kind of things, dinosaur bones and that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a great event. Then we'll move out to the fossil pit and we'll collect. I've got all kinds of freebies. This is the very first event I am debuting raptor claws. So most of you know I have the plaster trilobites for kids to decorate. Well, I now have plaster raptor claws for this event for the paleontology side of things. So come on out, decorate one of those. I'm going to have free giveaways, all kinds of stuff. It's going to be a great day out there on Saturday. So one little note on the side of things is I think it's great that they chose the picture of me at Pickering Golf Course with a slab of quartz and not a fossil. I thought that was funny because I guess we're rock stars. My picture is hanging in the museum, so I am a living fossil and a rock star, I guess. So anyway. All right, Ted Snipper, you've been waiting for this moment. All right. Friends of Mineralogy, Pennsylvania. They are holding on November 8th their symposium. I have been involved with Friends of Mineralogy for years now. I was the one that did their social page. I basically helped them for a long time. I'm on the board of directors for the club. So this is their yearly symposium. I put this in here because it's a great educational resource for people. It's not too expensive. It's $20 for non-members. Most of you are non-members. I think. But it's out in Westchester University, which is close to a lot of our club members here for Geology Club. So it's a great symposium. You also get an insider tour on the next day, on Sunday, November 9th, which is basically Ron Sloto himself taking you around to some of the Phoenixville sites, which I'm going to register. I can't be there on the Saturday, but I'm probably going to register just so I can go on the trip. Anyway, just let you all know about this. The one person I want to point out here on this list, Fossils of the C&D Canal by Luke Jackson. He is a student. He's actually going into his post-grad term this in 2026. He's presenting on this. I met Luke Jackson a few years ago filming my Dirtman report out at the C&D Canal. I was out there filming fossils and all these people collecting and all that, and I come across this kid in the sand with tweezers, pulling out microscopic things, and he's getting all excited. I come over to him and I'm filming, and I'm like, can I film you, blah blah blah, and they're excited. And what are you finding here? Microscopic sea urchins, literally pinhead sized sea urchins. This kid is amazing. He's now a post-grad, going into his post-grad at Westchester, and he's going to be presenting on the fossils of C&D Canal. One thing I highly recommend checking out at the symposium. If you don't want to show up there, it's also available online. It's going to be a hybrid, so you'll be able to check that out. Anyway, just wanted to give that a shout out. All right, field trips. So we both know, so we know about both of these trips, Mineral Hill, PA, and CK Williams Quarry. They've been full. They were full pretty much instantaneously. Flag Ponds, Maryland, November 1st. That is still open. We have plenty of spots open. That is a $5 fee for that one because it is a state park, a Maryland state park. But that's for, you know, the normal fossils, the Calvert Cliff style fossils. I highly recommend, if you are signed up for the trip or if you are interested, go to fossilguy.com and check out he has a whole section on the Cretaceous fossils of the Calvert Cliffs area and that whole shoreline that Flag Ponds is also part of. Also in the works, I'm still working on this with Steve. I haven't heard from him, but US Silica is still in the works. We are going to get in there as a club. It's just a matter of time. I apologize. Professor Lindbergh has been very busy, so I'm not going to pressure him. But he's the one setting up the trip. I also mentioned earlier about the caving trip. You all can check out the cave. It's a Dirt Man report. I believe I remember it's called, I just released it this year, I think earlier this year. Dirt Man report, the calcified skull. Yeah, karst caves and the calcified skull. That's the name of it. Look that up. That's the cave that I'm hoping to get us into. That's on YouTube, so check that out. Hopefully I posted it to YouTube. I've been backlogged on stuff. So anyway, that's what we got for field trips. Raffle time. All right. So the monthly raffle, completely free for anyone who wants to enter. Just enter a number into the chat between 1 and 200. Closest without going over wins. If two people pick the same number, the first person who shows up in the chat gets that number. The second person must choose again. So I'm going to stop sharing here, and I'm going to show you what's the raffle. Well, you know what? No one knows what the raffle is. This is actually the box to my axle, to my hub assembly that I put on my G6 about a couple weeks ago. But I'm going to use this box. There was nothing in this box. What you are getting is the contents of this box when I fill it up with stuff. I'm going to put new ringgold fossils in there from that last trip that we were just on. I'm going to throw some crystals in there. I'm going to throw all kinds of stuff. Maybe I got some tumbled stuff. I don't know. It's going to go in there, but you're going to win it, and it's going to go to you free of charge. I will message you after the meeting, whoever wins it. So throw your numbers in the chat now. You heard the rules. We are going to draw the number by random Google number generator at the end of the presentation. But first, we have our main presentation. So I usually have a really cool intro to say about our presenters. Tonight, I'm sorry, Dan, I don't even know you, man. Jake set this one up. So I do know that this guy is going to tell us more than we will ever want to know about tumbling. I'm looking forward to this because I told him earlier, like a few minutes ago, that I have about 15 tumblers I don't even know how to use in my basement. All kinds of brands. I just don't use them because I just collect rocks. So I'm looking forward to this. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Dan.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for having me. I'm sure most of you are like me and you have a excess of cool rocks that you don't know what to do with because they're not quite nice enough to sit on the specimen shelf, but the rock tumbling's perfect for it because you got a bunch of cool rocks, you can polish them up, and then you got some, they're even cooler. So, um, just want to preface this that everything I'm telling you is just kind of a basic guide. Like, it's not an exact science. You can tweak things, you can kind of do your own thing. Just use whatever I'm giving you as like a base to go on. And it should, let me see, share my screen. Okay. Everything look good there, Andrew?
Yeah, we got you. Everything
Okay,
looks
cool.
good.
All right. So, um, so your first thing you want to do, obviously, you got to get a tumbler. Um, the best thing to do is just to get the best one that you can afford. There's lots of cheap tumblers out there, and if that's all you can afford, go for it. You just got to know that there's some limitations with them. Like cheaper ones, um, they tend to spin way faster than you really want them to. So like the Nat Geo, and there's some like ones that are even cheaper than Nat Geo. You can use them and you can get decent results. You just gotta know ahead of time that they spin real fast. So you're gonna have to like compensate for that by like adding more cushioning, like more media into your tumblers. But we'll get into the media and stuff later. Um, so slower the better is really what you want. So I mean, I have right now the Loratone, the one in blue over here. I have two of those that basically runs 24/7, and they're like a nice slow moving tumbler, and they're high quality parts. They last forever. Um, but you can also get Harbor Freight is like a really good entry level option, and you can get the 20% off coupon, which is even better. So they're not super expensive. I think they're like 60, $70, something like that. But then you get 20% off. It's a good deal. And it's also a dual tumbler. So you can get twice the amount of rocks going at one time. But you want to basically figure out what size rocks that you want to tumble, and that determines what size tumbler you get. I mean, these basic ones, like the Harbor Freight one in the picture with the dual tumbler, those are 3 pound barrels. That's like the that's like the average one that most people start with, and you can basically do like inch and a half rocks, or you can do like one larger one with a bunch of smaller ones. They're probably the best starter option for you. Um, the dual tumblers actually, and that's actually one of the better ones because you can have two batches of two different rocks going at the same time, or you could split your batches up. You can have like just a if you have a whole bunch of one kind of rock, you can have one barrel doing like coarse grits and then one barrel of polishing. That's probably your best option is to get a dual. But like I say, get whatever's you can afford. That's the best one that you can get. That's what I would go with. But I have some other brands down here too. Dan and Darcy. That's actually the first one that I ever started with, and I ran it 24/7 for a year before it died. So it wasn't bad and it was like an Amazon purchase. It was not that expensive. There's like Thumblers; those are really good. Highland Parks just got into the tumbling arena, and they're making really nice stuff, but they're expensive. But it's I guess you get what you pay for. But um, the Loratones are kind of around the same price as the Highland Parks. But um, if you can get them, great. If not, get whatever you can afford, and you can make it work. So then, oh, and vibratory tumblers. I I haven't gotten into vibratory tumblers, so I'm not experienced in that to give any advice on those. They're kind of a whole different animal, and they're much noisier than rotary tumblers, but they tumble faster. So that's another trade-off. So if you really want to get into it, you can start looking at vibratories, and that's another option for you. But just be warned, they're really noisy. Okay. So grit is what you need after you have your tumbler. And basically, 4 stages are almost always what you're going to use. There's odd times where you use more than 4, but I'll get into that in a minute. But it basically is it's kind of like if you ever sanded a piece of wood, you start with the coarser one, then you go medium, fine, polish, and it's just the same deal. But these are the most common grits that you're going to want to get. So your first stage would be 60-90, which is the lower numbers are coarser. So it's a gradient grit, so it's a mix of 60 and 90 together, and that's your that's like your most used grit. You're going to use this one more than any other grit because this is the one that gets your rocks to the shape that they're almost finalized shape that they're going to be. But then you just move up the line from 120, 220, 500, and then polish. So the first 2 are silicon carbide is the material. That's the most common, and it works really well for rocks. And then the last 2 are aluminum oxide, which is what I get. Polish, you can get other types. There's cerium oxide and tin oxide. They're more expensive, which, I mean, if you're doing like real high quality polishes, like you can get into those, but aluminum oxide works perfectly fine for tumbling rocks. And for getting started as a beginner, that's more than you'll need to get started. But so you want to make sure that you don't cheap out on polish, because that's going to be the most important part. Like the other ones are they're just coarse grits and they're sanding your rock down. So you basically want to make sure you have a good quality polish. So you want to buy it from a reputable place. Like I get mine mostly from it's called the Rock Shed, and then that's a online spot. It's in South Dakota, and there's Kingsley North is a good one. You can get some decent stuff on Amazon, but it can be hit or miss. But if you do buy a tumbler and it comes with grit, use the coarser grits, but don't bother with the polish because it's probably not any good. But the polish that you want to get, you want to make sure that it's like they all have the numbers here, 500, but your polish will sometimes say just polish. You want to make sure that it's 8,000 grit or more, because if it's lower than 8,000, it's really just a pre-polish. So yeah, that's your most important part, is just making sure you have the grits you need and you have a good quality polish. And if you get into tumbling softer rocks like opals or something like that, there's an extra grit that you can buy that's like a 1,000 grit. That's like an extra step. But for just getting started, these are the 4 that you are probably going to need for almost 80% of your rocks that you'll do. Okay, and so tumbling media is the next thing. So there's 3 main types, well, at least for me. When you look on most tumbling places that sell stuff, they'll only have 2. They'll only have the ceramic and they'll have plastic. or they might have some like there's like nutshells and stuff, but that's, you won't need to get into that to start out. So, but I use I don't even bother with the plastic. Those things are a nightmare. They get everywhere. They float in the water. They make a mess. So basically, I use ceramic, or I use these rubber tile spacers that you can get at Home Depot or Lowe's for super cheap. So the ceramic ones, you're going to want to use them for all of your harder rocks like agates, jasper, quartz, those kinds of things. And then the rubber tiles I use for softer rocks. Like I do a lot of common opals and sodalite, that kind of stuff. That's what works best for me. Basically, the ceramic media, you're basically just adding this into your barrel to take up the extra space. So like when you fill your barrels up with rocks, the first stage you don't use any media, you just rocks. But then after, in the second, third, and fourth, your rocks will start to get smaller and smaller, and your barrel, you want to keep your barrel at like a 2/3 to 3/4 full. So as your rocks are getting smaller and smaller because they're getting ground up, you got to add something in it to make up the extra volume, and this is where your media comes in. So it keeps the volume the same, but then it also helps distribute the grit. So it basically carries the grit on your rocks as they're tumbling, and it helps to shape them better. So yeah. Oh, and the ceramic, the rubber or the plastic, if you use those, you don't use them for, you only use them for the last two steps, like your 500 and your polish. Because if you use them in the coarser grits, the coarser grit will actually get stuck or embedded in the plastic or rubber, and it'll end up scratching your rocks up, and they won't turn out right. So when you use, if you have a softer rock that you're doing, I would basically do no media for the first stage, and then ceramic for second stage, and then third and fourth, I take the ceramic out and I use my tile spacers or plastic. Okay. Other supplies that aren't necessary. So you're gonna want a soap of your choice. I use borax, and I actually add, borax does like a two-part thing for me. So I put a scoop of borax in the barrels with my grit, and it helps to thicken the they call it the slurry as they're spinning. So that helps with that, but then I also use it for rinse cycles. So after I take my rocks out, clean them off, I do a rinse, I put them back in the barrels, in the cleaned out barrel with just water and borax, run them for like an hour or two, and that cleans the grit that's like embedded into the rocks. But you don't have to use borax. You can use, some people use ivory soap bars that they like shave or grate, or Dawn dish soap works well too for cleaning, but it doesn't help you for thickening. Only the borax really does that. So, and then you're gonna want buckets for rinsing, and I get these screens for rinsing them out because they fit right on top of buckets, which is handy. But you can also use like colanders from like the dollar store, like a plastic colanders. They work great too. And then hoses, spray nozzles, anything like that. And my wife put ear protection because the tumblers make noise if you're gonna have them in your house. That was her addition. two things that I don't have shown here for other supplies that isn't necessary, but a lot of people use them. Ultrasonic cleaners you can use for cleaning your rocks instead of doing a wash cycle. And tile saws you can use to pre-shape your rocks. Like if they're like really rough and jagged and you don't feel like tumbling them, in the rough grit multiple times, you can pre-shape them to kind of the size and shape that you want and then put them in. So you can get a cheap tile saw with a cheap blade on it, and it makes kind of a quicker work and you're using less grit. So that's always something you can get into down the line if you really get into tumbling. Okay, and now step by steps for filling. So the amount of rocks you put in to your barrel depends on the size barrel that you have and the size of the rocks that you have. They mostly, if you're doing like a 3-pound barrel, you really want like rocks that are like an inch and a half. But if you have like one, like a couple of nice big ones that you want to tumble, you can do it, but you just got to make sure you have like smaller rocks around it. So when you fill them up, you want to fill your barrel to 2/3 to 3/4 full with the rocks. And then you fill your water up to just below the top level of your rocks. You don't want to do too much water because then it kind of thins out your slurry and it won't shine them up as good. So, but you always want to put your water in first before your grit, because if you mess up and put too much water in, then you can't dump it out if you already have your grit in there. So you always do rocks, then water, and then you do your grit. And so it basically works out to a tablespoon per pound of rock. So if you have a 3-pound barrel, you just do 3 tablespoons of grit. And you want to, like I said before, first stage, your 60/90, your coarse grit. You don't do any tumbling media, you just do rocks and grit. And I do a scoop of borax to help. And then basically you check your top rim of the barrel, which is like right here. You just want to make sure that's clean before you put your lid on so it doesn't leak. And you put your lid on, you screw it on, and then you put it on your tumbler. And roundabout, I usually do about 7 to 10 days if it's like a harder rock. And if it's a softer rock, I do about 6 or 8 days. And you take them off. And when you're done, you dump them out, rinse them off. You can do your wash cycle. And then once they're clean, you just repeat the same process again. You put them back in your barrel, fill it up with water, and you're on your second stage. Now you can add your media. So you do ceramic media. So you make sure that it's your rocks and media are 2/3, 3/4 full. And then you add your grit and close the lid and you put it back on again. And you just basically keep repeating the process. And if you take them out after your first stage, your 60/90 stage, and they don't look smooth enough, you just keep repeating it. Like step 1, your stage 1, you repeat it as many times as you need it until you get the rocks to the shape you want. Then you move on to stage 2. Like I've done some agates, like Montana moss agates. They're really hard. I've had ones that I've done stage 1 for 5 times. So it was like almost a month of stage 1 just till I got them to the shape they're smooth enough or got cracks, ground out of them. And then I moved on to the last 3 stages. So it's all depends on how you like them. So if you open them up and they look great, move on. If not, just keep grinding it down. Just keep repeating stage 1. But yeah, it's basically you just repeat all these steps over and over until you work your way through stage 1 to polish. And you just grind them, rinse them, repeat. It's pretty simple. It's not like a hard science to this. this is, I already went through this, but yeah, you just put your screen or your colander on top of your bucket, dump it out, rinse it off with a hose, and then you make sure everything's clean, put it back in, repeat. Oh, and down the bottom, this is key, never pour the slurry in your drain. Like, always dump it in a bucket, and then you can dispose of it outside. Some people dump them in like a paper bag to filter the slurry outside, and then so they're not dumping slurry in the dirt. I dump mine under my fence so I don't have to weed whack. It works, kills your weeds. um, but yeah, it will literally turn your drains into cement, so don't do it. Okay, so this is the Mohs hardness scale. I mean, this is something that if you start getting into tumbling, you want to kind of become familiar with it. Because if you're not buying your rocks to tumble, if you're just doing ones that you're finding, then this comes in handy just so you know how hard the rocks are that you have. You can buy hardness testing kits online, or you can just get some rock ID books to help you if you don't know what you have, or if you don't know how hard they are. But it's just a reference. I mean, it's not something that you have to be like super critical about knowing, but it's a good thing to have. And I also have I can send it to Andrew later on. I have like a guide that I made when I did the tumbling demonstration at the Rock Swap. I have like a 1-page guide, and that actually has a list of most of the rocks and their hardnesses. So I can send that to Andrew later on too. He can email it out if he wants, or if anybody wants, they can email me and I can send it too. But it's good to know with your hardnesses. The best thing to do with rocks that I've come across, hardness wise, if you can, don't mix different types of rocks that are different hardnesses, because they won't tumble well. The harder rocks will end up basically bruising the softer rocks in your tumbler. So like I would, if you're gonna buy rocks to tumble, I would avoid the ones that are mixes. Like they always sell like the Madagascar mix. That's the one that like a lot of the tumbling companies sell, and it's not great because they have like a whole bunch of soft rocks, like labradorite mixed in with like quartz, like, and it just doesn't work. And your labradorite turns out like all cruddy looking. So if you can, when you're tumbling, I would try and keep the same type of stones in your barrel, just like one type, or you can do different types of stones that are the same hardness, and that'll get you better results. So yeah, and then some tips. So starting out, I would start with harder rocks. So basically like agates, jaspers, and quartz, as long as it's not super fractured. And those are the ones that you'll get like the best results with for beginners. Because if you start with softer rocks, they're more finicky, and if you don't have experience tumbling, you might not get good results, and then you'll get frustrated. But agates and jaspers they're ridiculously hard, and they actually get the best shines and polishes. So they're like almost hard to screw up if you do just a batch of agates. They're a little more forgiving. And jasper and quartz are kind of common in Pennsylvania, so they're easier to find if you're doing rocks that you're looking for. So avoid overloading or underloading your tumbler. Too many rocks cause uneven polishing and potential damage to your machine, and too little causes bruising on your rocks. They're like micro cracks, or just breaks your rocks. And I already went over avoid mixing or buying rocks from that are mixed. Those are not that great. But yeah, you can save up rocks from your trips. If creeks are the best spots to creeks and like beaches that have pebbles, they're the best spots to find like quartz and chert and jasper to tumble. And if you get them in creeks that are already partially tumbled, so some of the hard work's already done for you. Um, and then if you don't get out to Rockhound, you can buy rocks that are meant for tumbling. There's lots of online places. I do Rock Shed, Gems by Mail, eBay, and Etsy. They're great places to get bags. You can get them in like 1 pound, 2 pound, and up. Of you can get all different like cool rocks that aren't around here, like mookites and opals and all kinds of stuff. So uh, that's it. I got a this is a bunch of stuff that I got. Like I have dendritic opals, and these were cookies and cream quartz from Parksburg, blue quartz. There's all kinds of cool stuff, and it makes a broken, busted up rocks like this. These ones were, throwaways that no one wanted to collect, but you polish them up and they end up looking really cool. So yeah, that's all I got.
Well, thank you very much. That was amazing. I actually learned a few things, and I do have one question. There were a couple things that came up in the chat as far as things, and one actually just came up at the very end. Deb B says, "I collect fossils. Tumbling would be very bad," but I instantly said, "There's plenty of fossils you could tumble and have a great product with, right?" Like the Petoskey stones up on the Great Lakes and stuff like that. Can't you tumble those and get a good product with?
The Petoskey's you can. I've done a couple, but they're really soft. So if you're a beginner, I wouldn't do it. One that you can do if you're beginning, the Turritella agates from Wyoming. They're not really an agate. It's like a chalcedony, but they have those little Turritella shells in them. I've done those, and they turn out great. And it's like they're pretty hard chalcedony in them, and so those ones are pretty fairly simple to do. Like they're a good one. But yeah, most fossils they're probably usually pretty soft. So I mean, if you're gonna polish them, you might be better off doing them by hand. I actually did some Petoskey's by hand, and they turned out way better.
All right. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. I was just instantly thinking the brain started churning. I was like, huh,
Yeah, no, they take a polish well. I actually did ones with just wet sandpaper, and
huh.
they did really nice. But yeah, tumblers, they're a little tricky because they're softer.
So we have a bunch of questions coming up. I'm gonna start with mine though. First question I'm gonna just start off with, and this is a basic one. You went through media, different types of media, and you mentioned the tile, the rubber things in between the tile. What
Mhm.
so I talking with you prior to the meeting, I was saying I have a bunch of stuff in my basement. I have a bucket of marbles that were tumbled, or maybe vibratory. What are your thoughts on using different sizes of marbles that I have and they're all beat up?
Yeah, I mean
What are your
they would
thoughts?
work. They would work probably just as well as like ceramic media. Um, I would use them for harder rocks. I mean, the softer rocks I would only use them for like the first or the second stage. Um, but yeah, they should work fine. I wouldn't I forgot to mention too. You can also use like pea gravel as a medium. Like if you go to like the beach or the creeks, you can grab a bunch of like quartz pebbles, and I've used them as media too, and they work just as well. And then you end up with a bunch of polished quartz pebbles.
Right.
Extra bonus.
So I'm just going to start running up the list here. What's the best process to prevent cross-contamination between stages? And that's from Joe.
Okay. So after you rinse, you dump out your slurry and you rinse them. I usually use like, and when the weather's nice, I take them outside. I hose them real good. I mean, if you wanted, you could sit there and scrub them with a brush if you had the time. But then I do, like I was saying, a wash cycle. So I make sure my barrel's nice and clean. I put the rocks back in, fill it up with water, and I put some borax, or you could use ivory soap, Dawn just soap. Put it back on your tumbler, and you could run it for, I mean, as long as you want. I usually do like 1 or 2 hours, but I've heard some people do them like overnight, and then they dump it back out again, make sure the barrel's clean, and then you move on to your next stage. Um, and that seems to be fine. You just have to check your rocks. I mean, like if you have like pits or cracks that you are on the rocks, you want to just make sure you check them because that's where the grit ends up. But that's why a lot of people are starting to use the ultrasonic cleaners. I don't have one yet, but it's on my list to get. But they basically dump them in there, turn that on, and then you can literally watch like the grit just kind of like comes floating out of them. So I mean that's a good one to get. I think Harbor Freight has some decent priced ones too. But yeah, just making sure you get a good wash cycle.
Nice. Are all tumblers really loud? I bought one last year and it was really loud. In my experience, yes. What do you say, Dan?
Yeah. So I haven't had a Harbor Freight one, so I can't speak to them. But I bought the one that was on the graphic that I had, the Tumblebee, the yellow one. I had one of them, and that one was really loud, but it was reasonably priced. The Laura tones I have, I mean, I could probably plug them in. They're on the shelf behind me. They're quiet. Those ones, the motors don't make a whole lot of noise. The noisiest part is just the rocks spinning. So I mean, if it's like your first stage is always the noisiest because you don't have media in with them. It's just rocks, so they're just rocks banging like in the. I mean, they're sloshing around the water, but um, if you spend the money on nicer tumblers, they're usually a little quieter. But yeah, they all do make noise. That's why my wife put the earphones on the graphic for for supplies.
So this is the big one, and I saved this one. I just saw a new question come in, but hold on. Basically, this is the age-old question, and it's for people like me as well, who are like, I collect rocks. I like it in a natural state. Why tumble rocks? And there was some conversation going on in jewelry making, and they don't look great until they're polished. Blue quartz is an example. I will say that Bill Geary has made some really cool polished things lately. There is a very good reason, but I want to get your take because personally, I like raw rocks. I have been sort of dabbling and cutting them lately and seeing that polished. So, what's your take, Dan?
Um, I like both. I mean, that's the thing. That's kind of why I like polishing them. It's because I like having some that are raw, like and specimens, that kind of thing. But then I also like seeing what they become when because you basically transform them. I mean, to especially when it's like certain rocks where there's like stuff like inside, like different patterns that you can't see when it's rough. Like there's different jaspers and agates, like you basically can't see it until you polish it, and then once it just looks awesome. So I mean, I like both. I mean, I think and it's just a preference thing. So I mean, whatever floats your boat. But yeah, I mean, polished rocks it's cool because then you can just do stuff with it. You can make things with them, you know, change them into jewelry, or there's all kinds of stuff.
All right. Well, I
So-
think that's all of the questions. Joanna, Joe, basically wants a tumbler now. I'm kind of thinking I've got a bunch of tumblers in my basement at this point. Um, I may figure out a way of doing a raffle for a tumbler maybe next meeting or something. Let me look at what I got. I know I've got that Nat Geo one. I've got that one in a box actually, just sitting downstairs. I've got a tumbler's tumbler. I've got the big ones. I recognized all these names. So let me see what I
Yeah.
got. Maybe I'll hook something up for next meeting. We'll
All
see
right.
what
Well,
happens.
yeah. Send me your address too. I'll mail you a bunch of polished rocks you can do in a giveaway too. I got rocks like crazy. So
All right. Well,
I'll
you all heard it there, everybody.
I'll send you. Some,
So we're gonna actually add that to the giveaway. So
there
if
you go.
he sends me stuff, I'm gonna put it in that box, or we'll figure out. Maybe I'll send him your address. Whoever wins, we'll figure that one out. But yeah, he
Okay.
just said he wants to donate some, so let's do it. Thank you. Thank you,
All
sir.
right. Yeah. No problem.
Yep. Ted, I see you, man. Sorry, just had to finish the conversation. Go ahead,
Y-
Ted.
Okay. Um, so yes, I do have a tumbler. It's Highland Park. It does
Okay.
have a variable speed, so I'm
Very
able
nice.
to slow it up and to lessen the noise. That helps a lot. I do have it in the garage in a cabinet, so it does lessen it more so. So those who don't have a garage, I would put it in a box or something that's insulated, that would hold the noise within. But Dan, you mentioned, your noisiest is going to be at the beginning, for you can hear the rocks
Hmm.
tumble. So
Yeah.
that you're never going to get away from that, no matter how well you insulate it. You're going to hear some noise. It just depends upon how where you put it. If you don't put it in your bedroom, that'll probably keep you up all night. But if you have it in another remote room or garage, that would probably be the best. Um, I've done some tumbling. It seems like I've taken a long time doing them. I've stopped now. I'm, collecting stuff and then deciding what I want to do with some of the rocks. But I mean, my first round was I went into French Creek and pulled up some blue quartz and some other things that I thought were hard. I had mixed results. Some are nice, but definitely, there's
The,
some
yeah.
harder things and softer things mixed
Yeah.
in.
The blue quartz is tricky because it's extremely fractured and
Yeah.
there's
Yep.
pits and there's all kinds of other host rock like kind of mixed and strong.
Yep. Yep.
It's a that one's a tough one. Like you got to find like a real nice piece of blue quartz for it to hold
Yeah.
during the tumble. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I've done some and I've gotten mixed results too. Some look great, some look terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, but yeah, the grit, I've used basically what you said. I've used the ivory soap,
Hmm.
yeah, and it really makes a difference after you've done the polishing. Really, the I to me for the ivory soap or Dove or something like that really makes it pop. When I've done, I haven't gone to. You mentioned the grit. What was the highest on the polish? The grit you were using.
You want to have at least 8,000 or
Okay,
or above. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I haven't gone that high. I
Yeah,
haven't gone
some of
that
the
high, but I thought it was pretty good. So
okay, yeah. Some brands don't tell you what the grit of the polish is. You have to like really look into it because the cheaper ones they sell them as polish and it's actually only like 1,200, which isn't enough to get like a real nice shine on some of the rocks. You want to be like 8,000 or above and for it to like really work well.
yeah, just I think for safety, just a note for everybody, I think too, is that when you're pouring the grit, not the 80 grit, maybe the 120 is okay, but you have to start worrying that it's going to go into the air. You have to watch where you're putting it. You can breathe it in. So you just don't want to dump it in. You have to do it slowly. And I typically have done it like outside with the finer grit, just because it's like becomes aerosol very easily, and it also gets on your fingers very easily. So I put rubber gloves on or latex gloves so it doesn't get into your skin real deep. So
Better safe than sorry.
well, I don't think it's dangerous per se, but it's like it doesn't get off of you. It's almost like coal dust to a certain extent. If you can't, it takes a long time to get it off because it's
Yeah, if it dries, it'll stain your clothes and stuff. So
yeah,
you just
it's
gotta,
very hard. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Ted. Thanks for the knowledge there. Always glad to hear from other people about other, knowledge and stuff like that. So, I don't think I see anyone else. So, it's giveaway time. We're going to give away the empty box. I'm going to fill it with rocks. We're going to put some stuff in there from Dan. We're going to throw a bunch of stuff in there from me. Maybe this weekend when I'm out at Montour Preserve, everything I find goes in the box. Who knows? Maybe I'll take the box with me, film a video. That'd be kind of funny. All right. Well, we have a few in here. Looks like no one is duplicate. So let's go ahead and do it. All right. I'm going to just pull up. Hold on 1 second. All right. Pulling up a Google random number generator. All right. Bear with me, everybody. Sorry. Here we go. I'm going to share my screen. All right. So I haven't hit generate yet. It's just sitting on 4 from where it pulled up. So when I hit generate, the number who comes up closest, without going over. 3.
No, you have 1 to 10. You have 1 to 10.
Oh yeah, it is 1 to 10. Sorry, my bad. Thank you, Ted. My bad. Yes, you are correct. All right, I'm gonna just hit generate. That is not the one. All right, so it is this one. When I hit generate this time, 1 to 200. Here we go. The number is 7. Lucky number 7.
Could have been 1 to 10.
Yeah, right.
Nobody's got that.
Without going over. All right, we are going to redo it because it has to be without going over. So 25 was the lowest number. So hold on, going back to sharing the screen. Who wins the box of random nothing? Here we go. 171. I know that's going to get somebody.
Yep.
Stopping and share. All right. Closest is 161, 175.
Ooh.
The closest one is 161, and that is Joe. Joe, it just says Joe, so I'm assuming that is Joanna Gamble.
Yep.
Joanna Gaines. Joe, can you unmute and just say, hey, I won?
Hey, Andrew, it's Joe and Mike.
All right, you win. You win the box
Yay!
of nothing yet, but I'm going to fill it with stuff. So
My cat will love a box of nothing.
all right. Yeah, actually, yeah, that's the best gift for a cat. All right. So, Joe, I will message you for your personal address, and I will send that out free of charge once I get it filled with stuff. So, probably Bill. Wait a minute, Bill protests. What's wrong, Bill? What happened? What did Bill? Bill was 175, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, Bill was 175. He's 4 away. Nope, he didn't get it. Joe, you got it. It's all good. All right. Well, thank you everyone for being here tonight. As always, this will go up on YouTube tomorrow on our Geology Club YouTube page. Stand by for everything changing as far as the logos and stuff, including the email address. You may have seen that the email address is already coming from geologyclubnews@gmail.com as opposed to newgeologyclub.com. We have moved things. Mike hopes it's 2 pounds of gold. Maybe I'll put a piece of gold in there. That's a good idea. All right, Mike, I'm going to put a piece of gold in there just for you. All right, I'm not putting 2 pounds of gold in there. But yes, I will put a piece of gold in there for you, Mike. All right. Well, on behalf of everyone, Andy is here tonight. Andy, since he's here, I do want to announce that Andy Wyatt has received the title of lifetime founding member. We'll print up some gold card at some point and give it to him. But he is here tonight. Thank you for being here tonight, sir. We can't thank him enough for everything he has done for Geology Club, and will continue to do because he is the man and we love him. So Joe McNamara, do you have anything you'd like to say?
I guess we'll see you all at Mineral Hill. And very excited about that. Bill's going to lead that one for us. He knows the area better than anyone. Well, not better than anyone, but anyway, we're going to have fun up there, and maybe we'll get some of that Amazonite for you put in that box.
There you go.
Hey, I got a question. This is Ted about the trip on Saturday. There was 2 parking areas. You hear me?
Yeah, the one near the soccer field by the houses is the one that you should go to
Okay, the
first.
houses. Oh,
Yep, the
when you
one
say
down
the
road.
houses, you mean the apartments?
Yes.
Okay, because I think it
Uh,
said the other. I thought that was the overflow. But anyhow, so there's parking there, and then there's
correct
the
me if
short.
I'm wrong. Yeah, Bill and Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's the one next to the houses that you want to go to first. And Bill says we will load up on Amazonite and Moonstone. Awesome.
You can tumble it.
Well,
Woo.
there you go.
Okay.
Tumble's nice. This isn't from there. It's from Canada, but it's Amazonite.
Nice.
Just
Well,
one other question on the parking. The parking is closest to the road and not all the way back into the development. I just want to just
Yes,
make sure.
it's closest to the road, and it's the parking lot next to the soccer field.
Okay.
cool. And anyone who finds a piece of Moonstone for Sylvia, Mama Rockhound, that would be awesome. I know Mama Rockhound loves the Moonstone. So anyone who finds her a piece wins the magic award. All right. Cool. Well, thank you everyone for being here. Bill's gonna make her a necklace out of it. All right, there we
All
go.
right.
All right, there you go. So yeah, I've hooked you up. There you go. No, I for years I've been wanting to take Sylvia for collecting Moonstone, and I just never knew about PA Mineral Hill myself. So the Dirt Man didn't know. Anyway, so thank you all for being here. I'm gonna wrap things up for tonight. As always, stay tuned to our social page and everything else. I will be sending out some emails in the next month. I do need to audit our family members to find out exactly how many kids we have, because when we report to the EFMLS, we are probably going to win awards next year for club growth in both adults and youth. So I'm going to be sending out emails to all of our members who have family signed up as a family, just to ask, who's under 18, so I can report that when we report to the EFMLS. So that's about everything I've got. So thank you all. Stay tuned, and this is going to be great. I promise you all. Thank you all for being with us. We'll see you next time.
Hey, thank you, Andrew. You did a wonderful job.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks, Dan.
Have
Good
a
night,
good night.
everyone.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Thanks for your presentation.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dan Anello.
Thank you.
You are the man. I appreciate it. I'll be in touch.
Rock on.